All right, we are live. Hey everyone, I'm Rachel Ngom, and I equip and empower purpose-driven female entrepreneurs to increase their influence, income, and impact using Pinterest. I share my top strategies that have grown my blog from 2,000 visitors per month to 36,000 visitors per month for free with Pinterest. And I have a free Pinterest challenge coming up actually, so make sure to sign up, rachelandgom.com/pin2profit. And every week I'm interviewing just some of the most awesome, amazing, inspiring entrepreneurs that are crushing it in their businesses. And today I have the honor of interviewing the gorgeous Lori Mercer. So Lori is an online business marketing and technology strategist. She guides online businesses from strategy through marketing and implementation from her 22 years in international business. Girl, that's so cool. Additionally, she's helping other professionals develop a roadmap and execute that roadmap to grow a virtual professional business at howshequits.com. She's also the founder and executive director of the nonprofit 24/7 Commitment at 247commitment.org. And the mission is to honor and strengthen marriages and families of first responders. In 5 years' time, her audience has grown to over 100,000 followers in social media platforms. It grew from grassroots blogging and social media effort as she shared and connected with other fire families experiencing the challenges of fire life and encouraging them through it together. She's the author of the book Honor and Commitment: Standard Operating Guidelines for Firefighters and Their Families, and has created numerous online and in-person programs for first responder families. Holy moly, I'm tired just reading all of that. Girl. So that was crazy, everything that you've accomplished. So it's an honor to have you on. I'm sure there were some gaps in the introduction though. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and give us a little glimpse into your personal life?
Sure. Well, thank you for that. I'm so glad to be here. And by the way, I didn't write that introduction. Like literally somebody else introduced me to somebody this week and wrote all that. And I was like, that's really good. Like, I'm just going to cut and paste that and save it. And then I needed it for you today. So I'm like, oh, here we go. It's already done. I think we don't talk about ourselves as other people would introduce us, right? So it was even hard for me to sit and listen to that because I really see myself as just a regular girl. You know, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I have 4 kids. My kids are a senior, a freshman, a 7th grader, and a 5th grader, which is just crazy. Like, if all you toddler moms out there think it's busy now, I'm telling you, it just gets busier. So if you need something to drive you towards being like working from home in your home office like this, like you need to be home by middle school. I'm telling you, be home by middle school. That's when you can't like get a nanny to take care of things, right? So I'm just a regular girl, and I've just filled my life with so many experiences I never could have planned, and it's really all coming together and fitting under this amazing umbrella that I can do for my home office. You know, everything from the online, strategy space, because I worked in business development. I have an engineering degree. Like, I was a computer programming nerd for a while. That was way back in the day. And I just feel like it's so amazing to be living in this time where we can create a business, right? We can do these live, like I can connect with you. I can meet amazing people. We can do interviews like this. We can have, websites that serve people and just really be serving up so much like fun, creative things. So I'm just a regular girl. I guess that's the easy introduction. And I just believe so many people can.
Yeah, dude, that's so cool. Okay, so let's talk about your business and your sweet spot. So what would you say is your area of expertise? And it sounds like you have like 7 of them.
Yeah, well, so isn't that interesting? Because we're all always kind of searching for like, what's my thing? Like, often we're searching for, what am I going to sell? Because at the end of the day, in a business, like, math isn't emotional. Like, you have to sell something to bring in revenue and, run your business. Otherwise, it's just a hobby. I'm sorry if you're out there and like in that space, but like, I'm kind of a truth teller in the business space. And, either it's just a hobby, or, hey, it's a thriving business and you're changing lives and you're getting paid to do so. I'm constantly, trying to figure that out. Still, it just evolves and evolves and evolves because the online marketing industry changes so fast. So if you take online marketing out of it, what's been my sweet spot for life has been to take a business problem and to be able to brainstorm, take the concept and turn it into a solution, both the technical side, because I'm really a nerd girl underneath all this, but then also the creative pieces that go with it, right? Like you can make the coolest tech thing, but if you don't have the right words and the right imagery and the right, a nice user interface or a nice web page to go with it, like it's pointless. So really I can do that kind of end-to-end strategic thinking through, okay, here's your implementation plan. And then I can implement too, but I choose to stay in this space, and in the implementation, I let my teams go forth and do that and kind of lead them through implementation. So my sweet spot is strategy to implementation for right now online businesses, but I've done that in a lot of other spaces, in the brick and mortar space. And like my husband and I owned a CrossFit gym for a while, just for an example. And
that is so cool.
Yeah. Firefighters all have side jobs. I'm married to a firefighter. They all have side jobs. So he's done a number of side jobs, and I've been his business strategist through them.
That is so cool. So how long did you own a CrossFit gym for?
A hot second. No. We owned it at the right time. I love CrossFit. I think it's a great fitness model. There are pros and cons to its business model, but I think it can be a big business model. And we owned a gym for about a year, but the location we picked was probably not yet ready to go big for a CrossFit gym. It was probably, business-wise, it was not a big enough market to support a thriving CrossFit gym. And so we decided to back out of it at that point. And not that we don't regret it, but, you make life choices about time commitments to family, even time commitments to exercise. And back then I was still working my day job in corporate and traveling internationally a ton. And it just got too heavy. So that was one of our, do we regret no longer owning a CrossFit gym? Well, maybe, but we more regret the choice of where we chose to place that CrossFit gym. Because if we would have put it in our other choice location, it would be off the charts booming right now.
Everything's a learning experience in business, right?
It sure is. It sure is. And, that's why I like to talk to people about their business problems, because I think if you don't solve that strategy piece up right up front, you could just spend a lot of time going down the wrong path. And it's not that we didn't learn anything from that experience. It's just that if we would have made that one strategic decision differently, everything would look so different.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So tell us something that we as entrepreneurs don't know about building a business online, but we totally should be aware of.
Oh gosh, I saw you gave me this question in advance, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many things I could say about this. I'll tell you what's on my mind this week, in particular this week. This is coming after, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And so a lot of online marketers put your blood, sweat, and tears, heart and soul into a big launch, a big campaign, Facebook ads, emails, a ton of work goes into prepping a Black Friday, Cyber Monday launch. And then it was crickets, right? Like the disappointment factor after, in particular this year here, 2017, I think was really high. And in some ways it doesn't surprise me, because I've been in this business for years now. Like I sort of feel like an old timer. You guys, I bought my URL in 1997. If that tells you anything, like I'm a nerd girl, right? Like I knew what URLs were before anybody knew. And I think what people need to know today about building an online business, and this is a math answer, not an emotional answer, right? Because math doesn't lie. Numbers don't lie. The internet space is getting more and more crowded. When Facebook says they're running out of ad space, like they're not making that up. And when the algorithm shifts, it's not really I don't think we can blame it on the algorithm. This is a math problem. There are, yes, more people online, but there is way more information online. There's way more ads, way more posts, way more blog posts, way more people doing Facebook Lives like us right now, right? And that's just math. Like you're just not going to get as much visibility now as you did 5 years ago, right? People who come to me and say, how'd you build Firefighter Wife, 100,000 people? I tell them, I can tell you, but it's not going to work now. Because, and this about Pinterest too, right? And Pinterest has never been my sweet spot at all. I'm really weak on that platform, but on Facebook, what I did 5 years ago does not work now. And so I think what online business owners need to know now is that it's not as easy as it used to be. I think that even the bubble's going to burst, right? Like it's still a pretty immature industry. Like if you step back and think about industry in a big way, manufacturing and, education and all these big industries, online marketing is still a baby. And so the bubble's going to burst, and what's going to win is maturity, right? So if you can build a strong brand, if you have to realize it's going to cost you more now to build a brand and to build an online business than it did 5 years ago. It doesn't have to take you longer, but if you infuse money, it can go faster, right? But not everybody has money to infuse. So I think we all just need to kind of wrap our brains around that and not let it dash our dreams, because there's important messages that need to get out there and can still get out there. But we just have to be more realistic about our expectations and not just expect that I'm going to put this big Black Friday program out there and then, everybody's going to want it because it's a great thing. Well, guess what? There's 3,000 other things that they want too that are very similar. So we need to just, look at the math, stand firm on our mission, keep doing the actions, but just, really think about it a little differently than we did before. Does that make sense?
No, totally. I built my other Facebook fan page it's over 50,000 followers. It was easy back in the day, and like the reach was crazy. Like I could reach so many people, and it was so funny. My husband was like scrolling through his newsfeed and saw my fan page, and he was like, "You don't get that many likes anymore compared to what you used to." And I'm like, Facebook has changed. It's more crowded. And I moved pretty much like my entire focus is on Pinterest, because I'm like, it's free traffic, and the payoff is so much more. So it's just crazy.
Exactly. And the other thing about that though, right, is the time that it takes. I have people look at this and be like, oh, you just run a Facebook page. Like, how much time and money can that take? Because our nonprofit, right, it is a nonprofit, but it's not just like free to run our big Facebook support groups and our Facebook page, right? We're paying people, VAs to create the graphics, to create the messages, to put the posts out there. It's hours upon hours of work. So I don't say that all the squelch dreams, because I can sort of sound like, a dream squasher. And I just think we just need to be smarter and more intentional about going, I'm going to start an online business and I want to sell, let's use coaching, consulting, and online information products, right? Because so many people want to do that. I have an expertise. I want to sell it in that format. We just have to be smart about the time and the money that it takes to do it. So when I work with women who are wanting to build businesses like this, and men, but I work with a lot of women, the first thing we do is make a time map and a money map. And actually that is a free program. I didn't even think about this. Like as I started talking, I'm like, oh yeah, I have this free program. That's how hard marketing is, guys. Like I have free stuff out there, and I don't even remember to mention it sometimes. holidaybreakthrough.com. You can go, and what I'm teaching is you feel like you're over busy in the holidays, but actually your brain gets into this new holiday routine, and it sort of sparks different thoughts and different epiphanies and different ideas. And if you're being really intentional about listening to those, your business can have a real breakthrough over the holidays, because you sort of jolted your brain out of that average day routine and into this holiday routine. And so the first two components of the holiday breakthrough are your money map and your time map. Because if you don't get the math right, it doesn't matter how much your heart knows this is a good mission and how much people are telling you, I love this, I would do it, because they, you still have to get it in front of them. They still have to click, they still have to enter their credit card, and those are all mechanical steps, right? So, not to be a dream squasher, but I want you to be intentional about your strategy and have your expectations in line, and only put out good stuff, So I might have to rant for a second. Like,
no, go for it.
I'm allowed to just come on here and rant on your page? Okay. Yes. I have a nickname for myself this past month. I started calling myself the Internet Rebel, because I'm reading things online and I'm like, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. I can't believe people are teaching it. That doesn't work. And it's frustrating me because I feel like there's so many good people out there who want to be building businesses like this. You want to build like their version of Firefighter Wife, or their version of, your, I forget what the name of your other page is where you have 51,000 followers, right? They want that. And they, sorry, I just lost my train of thought because somebody's behind me. See, I'm getting all ranted up. And so they're reading all these Facebook posts, they're signing up for emails, freebies, opt-ins. And what you're getting, it's not that those people are ill-intentioned, because they're trying to do good, but they're giving you like a slice of a slice of a slice through their viewpoint. And that slice of information might not apply to what you need to be doing to build your business. So we're just flooded with all these ways to build a business, and everybody using these online marketing techniques. And the hard part is then to discern, what do I need to do to build up my coaching business, my consulting practice? And it's a very unique formula. So if I had one word of advice there about my internet rant, don't just listen to everybody. Trust that their heart's in it for the right reason. Some of them aren't, be careful, but trust that their heart's in it for the right reason. But then don't get so trigger happy, and just be really intentional about going, does this fit in my strategy? Does it fit in my calendar? Have I finished the other programs I already bought or downloaded? Have I given it a fair shake? And it just hurts my heart to see people spending money on things that probably aren't right for them. If that makes sense.
Totally. I think there's a lot of just like squirrel tendency where they see something and they're like, oh, I need this, or oh, I need this. And they just either buy everything or download everything, and it's not what they need to move forward. Yeah. So I think one of the best things people can do is actually hire a business coach and have someone that's been there before you and say, hey, like step by step by step, this is what you need to do to help you stay focused.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely make my biggest gains when I'm working with a mentor or a high-level mastermind or like a one-on-one coach situation, because it is unique to your situation. You really need somebody to talk into your life. And, you know, when I was sitting in corporate all those years, always working a side gig, trying to get out, I had this one underlying feeling that was like, I just wish I had somebody who could answer this question for me. Like, I just wish there's somebody who would tell me, no, Lori, that's a stupid idea. Don't waste your time. Or, oh yeah, you're on to something, really pour into this. And I tried a couple, like big money, right? And they'd be right for a short season. Like, I learned a lot about Facebook marketing in 2012. That's why my page grew. But then that person didn't know about strategy or, you know, like some other things. Like it was a gap. It fit that gap, but it didn't fit the other needs I had. So be really careful about who you pick. And I know I sort of feel like a jack of all trades, but like one of the reasons I think people like working with me is because I sort of have this breadth of experiences. And then I also know where I don't have experience. Like, I'm not going to coach you on Pinterest. I'm going to be like, no, you need to go talk to Rachel about that, right? Because that's not my gig. So to be real careful about how you pick a coach and what they're offering. But I definitely think coaching is going to get you faster. And can I say, like, my internet rebel thing, like, I sort of don't like the word coach.
That's fine. What do you like?
I don't know what the right word is exactly, but I feel like there's words that get out there on the internet and get overused, right? And then they sort of like lose their meaning and lose their intention. And I think there's a ton of life coach, business coach, like all those, like, it's not that it was a bad word to begin with. It's just that the word's lost its meaning. Mm-hmm. So I sometimes use the word advisor. And I don't even know how to say it. Like, am I an advisor or an advisor? Is it an ER and OR? I don't even know. But, you know, like kind of in an advising role, because that's what I was really seeking when I was building my business. I wanted advice and guidance. And coach feels very sporty to me because I played sports. So it just kind of went into a different bucket. So that could be my filter, right? But yeah, so whatever the word it is, I think if you find the right person with the right skills and who has a system that brings results, right? Like somebody who has a system that brings results are going to be around for a long time. It doesn't matter if Facebook goes away and Pinterest wins and whatever the next Snapchat is, you know, your system is going to transcend all of those changes in the marketing space. It's your system that works. And if you can do your system one-on-one, and even better, if you can do your system like in a group format, like that's a winner.
Heck yeah. I think it's really important to pick a mentor, advisor, whatever, someone who is like a few steps ahead of you and they have what you want. And so looking like, okay, they're building their business this way. Is that what I want to do? So like, yeah. I wouldn't be, let's say Gary Vaynerchuk was mentoring people. I wouldn't hire him. I love him. I think he's the coolest guy, but I don't want to work 100 hours a week. I want to be with my family. So like, at that even like work-life balance, is what they're doing something that I want for my life? I think that's key.
Yeah. But do you know why I would hire Gary Vaynerchuk? Because I know that the hustle is not, like his word of hustle, right, is not right for my life either. But the reason I would hire Gary is because if you listen close to him, he doesn't tell everybody to hustle. He's a very, very smart business strategist and marketing man, like better than anybody on the internet right now, I think, in the online marketing space. And yes, I listen to him in the car in front of my kids who are old enough to understand that F-bombs are not appropriate, right? My youngest is 10.
In front of my 4-year-old. I'm like, no, you can't listen to Gary Vee. I'm sorry, dude.
I mean, the first time they were a little bit like, Mom. And I'm like, oh, hush up. You listen to F-bombs on YouTube when I'm not around. So like, let's just be mature. So anyways, I love his business strategy advice. And even though I know I'm not going to work like he works, and I don't think he advises everybody to do that, I can take the tidbits of his knowledge and apply it into the work lifestyle that I want to have. Yeah. And so therefore I would work with him because I think his breadth of business experience is so, so powerful. And by the way, it's only $10,000 for one day to work with him in a small group format. Do you know he has that program now?
I think I saw it was like Dinner with Gary or something. I do adore him. I've seen him live. Like I had signed up for his wine club. Like I've read all of his books. I think he's a genius, absolute genius.
Well, we saw him live in 2012 and did a little VIP session with him also, like right before we blew up Firefighter Wife. So I have to give him some of the credit because we just got lucky that we saw him before he was like crazy big, right? Yeah. But yeah, good stuff. So yeah, I think, now, here's a question. I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts on this because we are saying like work with a coach, hire a coach. There's a ton of free information out there, right? Like I think smart people can discern some of the free information and run and do good things. Like I've done that sometimes. I haven't always bought the coaching package, but I've kind of picked up tips and gone like, oh, I get their gist. So what do you see as the difference between people who sort of soak in the free stuff versus people who go, no, I'm going to go all in on this course and invest and it's worth the money. You know what I mean?
It's huge. So, I mean, before I hired a coach, I was kind of just like lost. I had all of these ideas that I wanted to do, but I didn't know what I should go with and how I should start. So I hired my coach, crazy expensive, more than our mortgage. Like it was insane and really kind of a scary investment. But I doubled my income that first month and have a completely different business now. And I mean, exact same thing with one of my one-on-one clients. She had this idea of like, okay, I want to do something else. She just didn't know like step by step what she should do. And so she started working with me and we put like game plan, like this week, this is what you're doing. This week, this is what you're doing. She's able to pre-sell a program without actually having a program and make, I think, $1,500 just from that one like pre-sell. I'm like, it's just having like the right, like step by step, like this is what you need to do and getting that clarity. Cause you can pick up all the free information you want, but if you don't know, like this is what you need to do today to move forward, I think that's the biggest difference.
Yeah, I totally agree. My 6 weeks to clients program. So in my How She Quits brand. So one of the things I do is, I was able to break free from corporate and basically become a virtual professional. It's what I call a freelancer in this space. And I don't have this great story of like, and then I quit and then I made $10,000 a month. Like it's not at all like that. Nobody's story is like that, by the way. Maybe somebody, I don't know, but most people I've met, it's not. But, that's what I did and, been able to do it from home, my schedule, all those kinds of things, great clients, no more grumpy bosses. If I have a grumpy client, I sort of just like, this isn't a fit. I'm going to find somebody else. So it's a great gig and it's not without challenges. There's some cash flow roller coasters and stuff, but it's a great gig for my family. And so I added an element to my program where I can teach other women who want to be virtual professionals to do this from home. And the biggest question everybody has is, where do I find clients, right? Well, there's two big questions. One is, where do I find clients? And the other is, I don't even know how to price and package my services because usually you just can't see the value of yourself. You can't quite, even if you're like, I'm good at this, but I'm like, okay, but nobody's going to buy that. but they will buy this. If you package it like this and you call it this and you do the service like this, they're going to buy it all day long. So those are kind of the two big things. Where do I find clients and how do I price and package? So my 6 weeks to clients program, like I give a lot of those tips away for free out on my social channels, my Facebook group, because I believe in doing that, not just because that's how internet marketing works, but I believe that if somebody's going to invest that in my program, they deserve to like hear from me, hear my expertise, hear me on interviews like this, right? And just know what they're getting, because they're really buying the system that runs in Lori's brain that she's had success with. So they need to taste and feel it. But I also know that when they do that program, I call it 6 weeks to clients for a reason, because you are going to pay back the money with the clients you find, hands down. Like we charge $9.97 for it. You get a website with it, like your own virtual professional website, because I realized that was a hurdle some people were having, like, oh, I don't have a website. And I'm like, oh, that's a no-brainer for me. We're just going to put in that program. So, I started packaging it like that. And it seems like a lot of money, but I know with confidence that if they execute this program, they're going to have at least $1,000 in clients work, maybe even completed and paid for by the end of 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. And, that's the difference in kind of trying to do it on your own. And, well, let me take this tidbit. Well, let me try this. But no, here's the whole package. Here's how you do the contract. Here's how you negotiate. Here's how you deliver the services. Here's how you onboard them. Here's how you should price. And here's how you set yourself up so you can raise your price for the next project, right? Because profitability, like you said, you doubled your income when you started working with a coach. So I don't know. I hope that didn't sound too sales pitchy, because I hate sounding too sales pitchy, but it from my heart, sincerely, I'm like, the women who have completed this and done it well have paid back that price with clients. And in fact, the first time I did it with the beta group, everybody had such hot prospects in the first week. I was a little panicky, like, oh my gosh, what are we going to, like, they've already got all these hot prospects and it's a 6-week program. But it turned out fine, because the next question is, how do I negotiate? How do we sign the contract? How do we make a contract that doesn't kind of put me in a bad position in the future, and all those things. So we get through the 6 weeks, but yeah, the clients come week 1.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Okay, let's talk about mindset and challenges. So you've done amazing things in your business, but what has been your biggest struggle as an entrepreneur?
Oh gosh. The biggest is a hard one to recount. I mean, there's so many, right? I mean, I can remember way back when I started Firefighter Wife, and it used to stress me out to get like a negative comment on the Facebook page. I was like, oh my gosh, that girl, I can't believe she posted that. Oh my gosh. And it was just like one little comment, or when we first started selling t-shirts, like I happen to be wearing one today. This is one of our older shirts, and somebody would be like, that was awful. That size wasn't right. I need a refund. And I would just like stress over silly little customer support emails. And so I find that new online business owners have to really thicken their skin a little bit and get over that, because there's a lot of grumpy people out there. I mean, sometimes I'm that grumpy person giving a customer support person a bad day. So I think we have to thicken our skin a little bit to feedback, negative feedback, and learn from it, and not let it sort of steal our energy and bring us down. And so that was kind of one of the first hurdles I went over. And I'll tell you, not everybody, when you build a fan club, a page to 100,000 people, not everybody loves you. Like the bigger you grow, also the bigger your hate club grows. And, for all kinds of different reasons, right? And so I went through some seasons that I'm divorced. Once my oldest son and his dad and I divorced when he was 1. And that was probably one of the emotionally hardest things that ever happened in my life. And when I went through a little hate club session with my Firefighter Wife group back in the day, I emotionally likened that to the divorce. I'm like, this is the hardest emotional thing I've done since my divorce. And so lots of growth comes out of that. What the growth you find is when you have a strategy, when your heart is in the right place, and your products or programs are bringing results, but it's not going to be right for everybody. You don't have a solution that's right for everybody on the internet. Not even every firewife on the internet, right? Like whatever your niche is. So you have to start feeling okay about not pleasing everybody, and just being able to go, okay, but look at all this good I did for these people, and really focus on the look at all the good I did with these people, because you can get so mired in the negativity, like the negative emotions and the negative energy, and it just zaps you from getting anything done. So that's kind of an emotional mindset thing, I guess, if I had to share one of those.
Totally. I mean, you could get I could get like 100 amazing comments saying, oh my gosh, Rachel, you changed my life. You helped me do this, this, and this. And then one person like says, you're crazy. I hate you. Like, you're one of those like online marketers. I'm like, what are you talking about? I think the biggest thing
I'm not one of them.
I know. I'm like, I'm not. I'm here to help. Come on. And just protecting your brain from any of that negativity. So like, as soon as I saw it, it was like going to be like a negative email. I like didn't even look at it. I was like, delete.
Yeah.
I can't at it. This person is crazy.
This is one of the number one support things that my VAs handle for me now, because I could never do the customer support job. Like, my heart is way too big to do customer support. It would just be crushed over and over, even if it wasn't my own business. And so I know now to not stick my fingers into customer support. I made processes. I have nice replies. I'm like, here's our policy. This is how we help people. And my customer support team handles that, because I know that I can't handle it. And on the flip side, I have for Firefighter Wife in particular, we did a video a couple years ago, and it was a silly contest. Like, they were giving away $13 million, blah, blah, something. And so we did a video for a nonprofit, me and my husband, and everybody had to like it, vote it, pass it around. Well, it ended up getting like 80,000 views, right? Like, it was a pretty viral thing. And not just that, the comments, the shares and the comments, like, our community really came forth and said, this helped me so much. And they said things that like I couldn't have ever imagined, right? So now I take that, there goes my husband. I take that video, and it's on my Friday morning calendar with a little note that says, watch this video, or at least look at it as a reminder, right? Don't lose track of the fact of how many people you have helped and served, and that these people need and want you to keep helping them. And this is for our nonprofit, in the space of marriage. Mm-hmm. And I see that every Friday morning on my calendar, and I have to, because our brains just go south too quickly.
Yep. That's awesome. I love that you do that. I love that. What has been your biggest just like aha moment or breakthrough moment that you've had as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, there is totally not one. I mean, they are like they're epiphanies that happen over and over and over and over, right? And they're like escalating epiphanies. Like, you have one and then you elevate. It's just like video game, right? You're leveling up, like, and over and over and over. And sometimes they're little and sometimes they're big. And so I can't think of any one. Well, maybe now that I say it, there's one that stands out. When I first left corporate as a freelancer consultant, my first client was still my past corporate job. And that was fine. It was great. Like, it was a great transition. Like, I call it bridge money. Like, it makes a nice, smooth transition. And your first client is almost always going to come from your close circle. People already know you. Well, things change, bosses change in the corporate world. And I'd been there like 20 years, right? So people knew me really well, but a new boss came in and was like, boom, we're canceling all consultants. And it was sort of a surprise. It was a surprise to me. It was a surprise to everybody. And it was his prerogative. He's the CIO, it's his prerogative. And that day I was like caught off guard. I was like, oh man. But I'm telling you, it was like 12 seconds before the lump in my throat turned around to, thank God I'm free from that ball and chain. And why did I not do this sooner? Like, why didn't I felt this sense of freedom, and suddenly, you're just released from the golden handcuffs. And I had time, space, I had mental space, I had all this space to just really completely do my own thing. Like, all my clients are coming to me because I earned them, not because, I worked there at corporate 20 years, right? So that was a really hard moment, but a big, a breakthrough moment for me. And so most often my breakthrough moments came because my hand was forced, not because I did something, right? Because we like to cling to what's comfortable. And usually it's been like, you lose a client. Like, I lost a $5,000 a month client once, and for about 24 hours, I waffled between, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with cash flow? And your network is great. Your network's got you. This is going to make space for something else. And when I stayed on that side of thinking, sure enough, better projects came, better clients, better projects. So yeah, I think I get drug into my breakthrough moments in a very painful way that I could probably minimize if I thought about it more, but they happen over and over, and they happen when we take actions. Like breakthroughs don't happen when you're sitting in your chair thinking, when you're scrolling through Facebook, reading motivational memes. They happen when you take actions. The action's either going to work and you're going to be like, oh, that worked, or it's going to be a failure and you're going to be like, all right, I'm never doing that again. On to the next thing, right? Fail fast. Fail fast. One of my favorite sayings.
Okay, so I love everything about what you just said, and a lot of it like reminds me of Tony Robbins. Have you ever been to one of his seminars?
I haven't been. I've watched, some of his stuff. I watched Netflix, and I'm a fan of his, but I have not been live.
Oh, you need to. It's amazing. But he talks a lot about quality questions, and like the questions that you ask yourself determine like the quality of your life. And so when something happens to you, ask like, what else could this mean? Or what's good about this? And so I love that, like when that happened to you, you just were like, kind of like asking like, all right, like this is a good thing, right? Like this is a good problem because now I can do this, this, and this. I think a lot of people struggle in that, like, oh, woe is me. Like this just happened to me, and like change it, flip it. Like what's good about this? What else could this mean?
Totally. And I mean, I'm a Christian believer, like God just showed up in all those moments, whether it's God or universe for you, whatever. But like that day that my consulting contract got canceled at my old corporate job, I walked into the parking lot, and do you know who I ran into? My work BFF, right? Like the girl that was like my right-hand girl for years and years. And like, it was exactly what I needed. Like I had to have some tears a little bit for a second, right? Because I was mad. Girls cry when we're mad. So I was crying mad tears for a second. And then I saw her and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so over it. This is so right. I should have done it a long time ago. And she was there to pump me up. And it was like such a God ordained moment. And like that happens. You have to look for it, but it happens. Otherwise you just, get stuck in that negative cycle and it's no good.
Yes. Awesome. What is one trait or habit that you think every girl boss should have to be unstoppable?
Yeah, gosh, there's so many, but I mean, I think maybe it's summarizing up the theme of what we've been talking about here. I think you have to learn to be a fast decision maker. And the way you learn to be a fast decision maker is you have to move away the emotional baggage, because most of the time when you can't make a decision, there's something sort of emotionally holding you up, right? Like it's usually always fear-based in some format, or you're lacking knowledge, right? So if you can't make a decision, it's like you're missing a piece of information that would make you feel more comfortable to make that decision. So there's two choices. You dig in and go, why am I afraid of this? Fact. These are all the things making me fearful. Or, well, I don't know what might happen here. I don't know what this scenario looks like. So either you go find the answer, or you just play out worst case, best case scenarios in your head and decide how much risk you're going to take on. But we waste so much time being slow decision makers that and business moves fast, especially online business. So the most successful people in my life in the online business world are really good, fast decision makers. They're confident. So find people like that and study them and study like their decision-making methods, because you're going to learn a ton from them.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Take action. Don't just sit back and wait. Just take action. I love that. So you have a lot of different business models, I'm assuming. How are you monetizing right now?
Oh, great question. Because I hate just talking about business and then like not being transparent about the money piece, because I don't think it's very helpful. And like transparency is totally one of my core values. So for me, my biggest monetization right now is my one-on-one client work. And I teach that as the fastest path to monetization, because if you've got a skill and it's worth money, you could have a client in 1 hour and just say, hey, I do Pinterest graphics and my package is 10 graphics for $250 or whatever the number is. Do you want it? And they go, oh yeah, I really need that. Okay, that's a good price. And they pay you $250 on PayPal and you just made money, right? So my one-on-one client services are kind of my bread and butter, like my most consistent income. And then I have a little bit of affiliate fees because affiliate commissions, the longer you're out there, there's things you promote and a little bit starts coming in. But my courses, like my How She Quits courses, are becoming a bigger part of that monetization. And it happens, but it's a slower growth, right? Like you're not going to build you're not going to build a course and then sell 10 of them tomorrow unless you already have a big list that's warmed up to it. So the fastest growth cycle is absolutely the one-on-one services, because you only need to know one person to sell something. And then you can build a platform for online courses in parallel, but just know that's going to take longer. And so that's where I've been with my How She Quits brand and products. And actually, I would have expected to be farther this year, but we had a big personal situation go on. My father, we found out he had a brain tumor at the end of April, and he passed away July 10th or 12th. It's good that I don't even remember that date anymore. That's healthy, I think. But it was like 10 weeks end to end, and it rocked our whole family. And, I had to step back from my business a bit to spend time with him. And you know what? If I was in the corporate space, I would have been fired this year, like totally fired. But I had great clients who understand my work, what was going on. I had a great team who covered for me. My one-on-one business stayed nice and steady, but I had to kind of take the brakes, put the brakes on a little bit on How She Quits, because that takes a lot of time and energy to build. So that's my focus going into next year is, hey, now we're set, now we're ready. We have all the programs, and the How She Quits brand is where I'm going to be sowing my seeds and investing my time. Then on another note, probably people want to know where Firefighter Wife makes money, right? Because that's a different business.
Yeah.
And so Firefighter Wife is a nonprofit. And so our financials are all out there. You can go to our website and look at it, what we bring in and what we spend. But Firefighter Wife is almost entirely funded by individual donors, right? So they become members of our sisterhood community for $5 a month, $5 or $10 a month, right, at that low rate. And then there's people who are higher level donors because they believe in the cause. So like most of our funding comes from individual donors, and some from some corporate donors. I think there's this misconception that I'm going to start a nonprofit and all these corporates are going to step up and hand you money. And a couple key ones did to get us to where we are, but they've never been the majority of the money. It's all individuals. Nonprofits are really individual driven. And also t-shirts, by the way. We sell a lot of t-shirts, but t-shirt is a hard business to be in. Like we're lucky if we make $5 a t-shirt. And then there's returns, there's people calling the Better Business Bureau. That's what's on my voicemail today, because we don't have a return policy. We do have a return policy. It's no returns, but they want to return, but we can't do it because it would just be like throwing $40 down the drain for the nonprofit, right? So we say it up front. These are the struggles of running your own business, but that's how the nonprofit is monetized, is through a membership program with donors. So I thought people might be interested in that, because the nonprofit, we bring in a couple $100,000 a year, and that's nothing to sneeze at. And we fight for every penny of it because it's hard work.
Yeah, that is awesome. If you could go back and give yourself, your past self, one piece of advice, what would it be?
The one thing I say is a regret that I have is that I did not quit corporate sooner, because I just believe that when you're sitting in corporate, it's easy money, and they want to keep you there, right? Like they kept giving me more flexible hours, a bigger team, higher pay, like all these things. But at the end of the day, the work that I was doing there was not purposeful enough. It was not life-changing enough, and almost a sin for me to continue to sit there and take the easy money and not be getting the marriage mission message out, or this message to other women who are trying to build these online businesses. And so if I regret anything, it's that I did not maybe take more risk and step quicker and stop holding on to this golden handcuff so long.
Okay. Awesome. And let's give everybody just an idea of what it takes to run an empire. So what does your team look like? I know you've mentioned virtual assistants.
Yep. So, Firefighter Wife started, the first thing I did when I needed somebody was hire a VA. And she has been with me for 5 years now, like since the beginning. So totally you need to find people who are the right fit for you. We'll have to put this in the link later because I'll have to go get it, but I have a whole blog post written about how do you hire the right people for your team and like how do you structure a virtual professional business. Definitely hire out anything that is not in your zone of genius. Like if you're not a graphics creative, there are a million work-at-home moms that do awesome Canva graphics for every platform out there. Hire them. And it's really reasonable. So I have anywhere from 6 to 10 virtual professionals. We didn't talk about that. I use the word professional, not assistant, right? Virtual professionals that I subcontract to each month. Some are specialists in, WordPress design, graphic design, copywriting, and some are more generalists where they kind of do everything from customer support to cleaning up my blog to, doing things inside Entreport, which is my favorite email marketing tool to send out, our emails and whatnot. But you don't need that many right away, right? Like you need to start with like one and some processes. And the more you have, the more complicated it gets. So you have to be kind of a well-oiled machine and your processes really ironed out nicely to expand your team and grow. That's why it's so hard to go from kind of the, like, I'm a small team with a couple VAs to where I sort of am now as a small agency, kind of the boutique model, small agency. And because you have to have processes in place and those get a little heavy. And so you have to be profitable to have the time to put those in. So I love people on my team. Sometimes they're there for a season. Sometimes they're there for the long haul. And when you interview and find people that your goals match up, right? Like, I don't like to hire people who just want stopover work because like, well, I'm doing this now, but I'm really trying to build this. I don't like to hire people like that because I'm investing in them. I am teaching them my brand, my messaging, our systems. And so I don't want them to just work for cash for 6 months and then, well, I don't want to do this anymore, because it's too expensive. So I really look for people who are intentionally building a graphic design business or a WordPress development business and pour into them and help them grow their business while they're helping me grow mine. And then you have these long-term symbiotic relationships, I guess is the word. But yeah, team is super important to me and surrounding yourself by good people.
That is huge. I love that you said delegate I don't know if that's exactly how you said it, but delegate what's not in your zone of genius. I caught myself like last week trying to use Photoshop. I downloaded Photoshop and was trying to create mock-ups and I was like, what are you doing? I just sent it to my virtual assistant and I was like, I need your help with this. I'm like, why am I even trying to do this? This is not, Photoshop. Yeah. I was about to like rip my hair out. I was like, this is so stupid, Rachel. So delegate.
No, and Photoshop is so advanced, you guys. Like I learned it like 10 years ago. Maybe it was 15 years ago. It took me a solid 6 months to learn Photoshop. Like it's a really advanced tool and it was a great skill. But now the tools change so much. Like I know old Photoshop, I don't know new. So I delegate out all Photoshop. I have part of what I teach, and I guess this is part of my thought leadership is a word I like to use, is there's a competency matrix, right? For two things, both for an online business, there's kind of a maturity matrix for your online business, and there's a competency matrix for virtual professionals. And even as you're hiring, you have to have the right expectations. Like at what level of competency should I expect somebody to know Photoshop and how much should I pay them? So I have some of that out on my website as well in that same post. And it's really to understand, what is a $20 an hour VA? What can I expect of them? What if I'm paying somebody 30 to 40, what should I expect of them? If I'm paying somebody this, like what should I expect of them? Because the industry is not standardized yet. So we're all over the map with, am I paying too much? Am I not paying enough? And nobody standardized that at all. So this is my attempt to kind of jump in and say, project management skills, graphic design skills, communication skills, right? You might get frustrated with the $20 VA, but you haven't set her up for success because your expectations are wrong. And you can coach her. She can work with you for a while. You can coach her into being a $30 an hour VA for you, and it'll be awesome for her and priceless for you. But you just have to know where she is and help her to get to the next level.
Yes, I love that. My first VA was $6.50 an hour, and it was the best thing ever. And also, I don't know where you find your VAs. Mine are in the Philippines, and so the language barrier can sometimes be an issue. And there's also like cultural issues too. So just like be aware of that. And I think like over-explain what you want and tell them like in detail, because otherwise, there's like been times where I haven't given enough direction, and they like either they haven't done anything, or it came back to me and I was like, oh, that's enough.
That's a great point, because I was really talking about like US-based VAs, right? Like somebody in your time zone. But I need to add a column for like the Filipino-based VAs, because I think there's a lot of value you can get from them, but you have to just know how to find that value and how to set them up to have that value.
Yeah, it's definitely a different culture. So you have to, I think they're a little bit quieter. Like they don't speak up as much. So if you're not giving like the proper directions, they won't, at least in my experience, they haven't told me, hey, I have no idea what you're talking about, Rachel. They'll just like kind of come back with something, and I'm just like,
yeah,
what I wanted. So just keep that in mind. But my first one was $6.50 an hour. Now I pay someone $10 an hour, and like the stuff that I get back, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. Hallelujah. Like it's so good.
Yeah. If you are a systemized person and you're working cycles ahead in your business, which means you don't go, I want to launch next week. Oh my gosh, I need graphics. Like you can't use a Filipino VA if that's your timeline. But if you're like, I'm launching something in February and here's what we're going to need, and you have it already, then it's great. You just have to build, some more time cycles in. But what you just said about culture is absolutely true. In my corporate job, I traveled internationally a lot, and I led teams that were in lots of different countries. And the Asian culture, I don't want to blend them all together because it's a little different, but the Filipino would be like this, Chinese, Japanese, in this dynamic where it feels rude to them to speak up like that. And they're not trying to be difficult by like withholding information. Like it's just culturally, it feels rude to them. So you have to sort of make it a safe space for them to ask questions, or for you to be like, can you give me some feedback? And it's really a kind of a different perspective. They're very much into pleasing. They want to work very hard, but they're low communicators, right? Like look at us talking our ears off here. US people are high communicators and fast talkers, and we overwhelm the low communicating cultures. They're just like, who was that girl I just and we come across a little rude to them, even though we're not either. But when you have that intercultural training, you understand each other's lens, it works.
It's so different. Yeah. So obviously you're using Facebook for your business, but are you using any other social media platforms?
Yes and no. So, I have Instagram and I have Pinterest, but here's a challenge I have. And what I want to talk to you more offline about this is there's only so many hours in a day, right? And, what I believe is the right path is for you to go sort of all in on one platform, learn it, make it your main platform, and just be all over it. But you need more eyeballs on your stuff. So moving to Pinterest, like for me, since Facebook's my main, moving to Pinterest or moving to Instagram, but Pinterest is a better example, and YouTube is another good example. I just need systems and experts in those platforms to take all the content that I'm putting on Facebook and in my blog and in my emails and repurpose it in a way that the Pinterest world loves, that the YouTube world loves, right? And it's a system at that point. I don't have to know the ins and outs of Pinterest. I know the ins and outs of Lori Mercer thought leadership, why my programs are successful, why my audience likes to talk to me. And then, hey, Pinterest expert, can you help me get my blogs more visibility through the Pinterest channel.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I have not found somebody that can do that for me yet. And this is like a challenge to you. Like I haven't worked with you yet directly on this topic. So to be fair to everybody, right? But those who I've tried to hire in the Pinterest space, and this comes where my professional word comes into play too. They are work-at-home moms who love Pinterest. They have a beautiful Pinterest board of their own. They make beautiful Pinterest graphics, but they're sort of missing that strategy piece. They're sort of missing how would I take Lori's good message and make it work on Pinterest? They just want to be told what to do in pen. And there's a place out there for a job like that, but that's more in that entry-level category, right? Like somebody that can take the strategy and have an eye for the marketing and the visuals and watch the trends. That's really where the advanced professional skill comes in. And the market is ripe, you guys. Like if you have that skill, that market is ripe, because I've been looking for that Pinterest person for years. Maybe I'm talking to her right now. And I just really see so many gaps in the marketplace for professionals. And it's why I say virtual professional, not virtual assistant, because if you call yourself an assistant from the get-go, you're just looking for tasky work. Mm-hmm. If you're a professional, there's also, you got to raise your game a bit. There's things that go along with it. Your kids can't be screaming in the background on the phone when you're a virtual professional. You have to hire out some childcare. You have to show up. You have to be responsive. You have to be a solid communicator. But to me, that's a low bar, right? Like that's just showing up and doing the work well. And when you do that in that space, you don't even have to market anymore, because word of mouth referrals are going to grow your business like mad. So that's my other little rant about virtual professionals, not virtual assistant. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. So there's a couple different things. Let's keep it all in my head. One, your content. So it's just a matter of having the right strategy to put it on Pinterest. And so Pinterest is different. You don't want to just like pin it there. You want to make sure you have the right keywords, the descriptions, the right graphics. But if you already have the content, that part doesn't take much time at all. So I teach in my course, basically how to do all of that. So some professionals like to take the course, do it themselves. Some are more in your situation where you're already like your head is spinning with all this you already have going on. So some people hire me to like take over their Pinterest account, and I do that too. Some people have actually hired like their social media manager or a virtual professional to take my course and then to implement it for them. So there's a lot of different ways that you could do it, but dude, you need to be on Pinterest. Like you already have the content, and it's not that much more work. Like the biggest thing is creating the content, and then literally it could be like 10 minutes a week, and that's it.
Yeah. So let's practice the fast decision maker thing right now, right? So I know what's holding me up from being on Pinterest. It's time, it's knowledge, and it's this fear. Because when Pinterest first came out, I was freaking all over it because it is like my love language. I was so all over it that I was staying up till 2 a.m. pinning stuff that I would never use, right? Like this was, when would that have been? 8 years ago, maybe? Like my kids were real little. So I know my personality, and I'm like, Pinterest is way too addictive for me. I just got to get off. Mm-hmm. Like it is not productive time spent. So I got off, and I gave my Firefighter Wife, I gave my VA a very mechanical path to pin stuff, and we've got like 3,000 organic followers. Like, I know there's probably people out there that would die for 3,000 followers, and I'm just like, we've only got 3,000 on Pinterest. But my Lori Mercer CTO brand, My House She Quits, I haven't done that at all because I've not kept knowledge in the Pinterest space, and I don't have systems, and I've intentionally, decisively said I don't want to get onto addictive Pinterest because of my personality. But the fast decision is the right person, I could hire that out to. And as long as it's bringing ROI to my business, then I'll pay for it all day long. Yep. Right? So I don't know, that's a little bit about my decision-making philosophy. So I know I want to do it. And I also know that it'll take probably a couple hours of strategic time with me up front with whoever's taking it over. And then they'll run some, do some of the work. And then we'll come back 2 weeks and look at results. And then we'll tweak, we'll do it again. And that's the cycle, guys. There's no secret in business. Like that's how, like all the big Pinterest people out there, all the big whatever, like this is how they do work. Am I right? Like, is this how you do work with everybody? Yeah. So yeah, I totally need to, and I totally trust your expertise there, and it is on my list. And all I need to do is carve out a couple hours to have a strategy meeting and be decisive and get started.
Yeah.
So kick me in the butt and make me do that.
Yes, I will. Okay, let's get into rapid fire questions. So 1 sentence or less. Are you ready?
Oh, that's so hard for me, but I will.
What do you enjoy most about being an entrepreneur?
Working from this office, freedom of schedule.
What is the most challenging part about being an entrepreneur?
Earning money. Flat out earning money. It's harder than just going and picking up a paycheck.
Yep. What is one go-to tool or resource that allows you to be a high performer?
Entreport, because it is all, I only have to go one place to manage my membership site, my sales pages, my email marketing list, my newsletters, my memberships, like all of that. It's one place. And so it has just made my whole world so much more efficient.
Awesome. And one piece of advice for someone looking to level up their business and have a greater impact?
Be a pro. Play pro ball. I sometimes say that, play pro ball. Like, don't be an amateur. Like, be a professional. Think about what it means to be a professional, and always take the high road and do that. Don't get drug into, free Facebook group drama, private messaging with people who will never pay you. Like, just don't. Like, be a pro. Pros ask for money. Pros get paid money. Pros do pro work. Be a pro.
Heck yeah. All right. To wrap up, why don't you tell everybody what is latest and greatest in your business and where everyone can connect with you?
Oh, awesome. Okay. So LoriMercerCTO.com is where you can find everything about me if you want to work one-on-one, or if you are wanting to quit your corporate job, or even like I have a lot of stay-at-home moms who just want to start a side business, come in there also. So that's where you find all the How She Quits programs, 6 weeks to clients. And if you're any kind of coach, consultant, online information business person, and you want one of those services, I have a new offering now, because that was a gap in what I was doing. And it's called the Business Accelerator. Right now, it's holidaybusinessaccelerator.com is open. It is absolutely the cheapest rate I've ever offered to come work with me in a small circle. So it's sort of a test. I'm testing it. It's $97, and we're going to build email funnels. I'm going to work through your product pricing strategy and really just kind of get stuff done. Like, I like to GSD, get stuff done. I'm not a big cusser, so I say it that way, get stuff done. And we're going to get stuff done now through the end of the year, kind of using that holiday brain epiphanies that you're having. And so, yeah, holidaybusinessaccelerator.com is the current thing I have open that I would love to see everybody join me in, because it's an easy trial, right? Like, try it. You're going to get something out. You're going to get my funnel formula. By the way, we didn't talk about funnels a lot, but I do funnels in my sleep all day long. I can build your funnel in a day if you just want to have it done and crossed off your list, but you're going to learn the funnel formula, and it's $97. So there you go.
That is awesome. Cool. Well, I'll make sure to put the links in the description. So you'll just send those to me. I'll put them in the description so everyone can find them. But thank you so much. This was so much fun.
Yeah. Well, we're going to keep talking about Pinterest and getting me out there.
We will. I'll end the live video and we'll keep talking.
Okay. Sounds good.
And